right, we'll call the meeting to order. Good evening, welcome to the City of Charlestown Redevelopment Commission meeting for October 7th, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed this evening by Under Production Multimedia. If everyone would please rise as we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do a roll call vote. Dean Faith.
Here.
Bobby Brooks.
Here.
John Spencer.
Here.
Chuck Deaton.
Here.
Derek Holmes is also present. We do have a quorum. First item on the agenda this evening is we have a presentation with HWC on the Family Activities Master Plan. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Catherine Puckett. I'm the Director of Landscape Architecture at HWC Engineering. I have a presentation to give you, which
Second.
my website is working on pulling up. But I also have it in paper copy just for you. I did not know the paper debate was going on, but this is just a copy of the presentation, this larger booklet, and then there's a public input summary and cost estimates as well. So there we go. Beautiful. Thank you. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So this presentation is going to just give you a summary of the Family Activities Park Master Plan that we were scoped to do and have completed. So just a brief introduction to the team that worked on this project. Again, my name is Catherine Puckett. I'm landscape architect. Sally Hughes is our client liaison down here for the City of Charlestown. Rebecca Mahoney is the project manager who led the planning effort. We got double booked, so she's not here this evening. And then Matthew Fox is led the production for the project. And this was the same team that also worked on the parks plan that was done not too long ago. Next slide, please. So this first map is just showing you an aerial view of the park and the park boundaries. Always kind of nice to take that glance at it. So I'm sure most of you are familiar. A lot of the main features of the park, the existing splash pad playground, the mini golf. The new depot is so new it's not in this aerial, but that is where it says existing depot. Parking lot, skate park, pavilion building, and the concession and community building. Next slide, please. So generally when we're doing master planning, we like to do a little bit of site analysis to just take a look at the features we're dealing with. So this is combining all the site analysis into one summary diagram, but what you're looking at here are a couple things. One is the existing natural systems, so a lot of open lawn. There's some tree canopy, but not a whole lot. And then the topography is shown on this map, and then the colors you're seeing that are orange and red are representative of different slopes. So we generally look at 5% and below, which would be longitudinally ADA accessible, so very flat. And then 5 to 10, and then 10 or greater is usually much harder to develop. So you can see it's pretty generally flat, as I'm sure you're aware. A little bit of topography around where the train depot is, and going up to the kind of plaza aquatic splash pad area. Next slide, please. So after doing a little bit of site analysis, we did some public input. So this handout goes into more detail of that public input, but I'll just kind of give you a brief overview. So we did 2 public workshops on site at the park in April. Attendance was very low, but it also rained cats and dogs one night, so that usually means we're not gonna have many people. But those people that did come out for it, the kind of key takeaways from them, there was a lot of discussion about kind of hours of the facility, and could it be open longer, later. Signage and promotion, there was a family who had lived in the community for about a year and hadn't been to the park, but they came for this public meeting, so that was an interesting perspective. Accessible surfacing was talked about, and then some different programming ideas like doing night mini golf, like glow mini golf. And we had a young girl ask about like a dig site, future archaeologist perhaps. So that was fun. And then we did a public survey that was open for about 2 months. We had 620 responses, which is really good for kind of putting something quick out there to the public. But the demographics from that, 72% of respondents were between the ages of 25 and 54, which kind of matches your population breakdown here of age, so that made sense. 61% live within a mile of the park of those respondees, and 91% of people drive to the park. So I thought that was interesting. So many live so close, yet they're still driving. Key takeaways, the most popular amenities, splash pad and playground, mini golf. Concessions also came to the top of the list, and just all the programming that happens there is really liked by the public. Improvements, when we asked what would you like to see, there was kind of a common theme of more activities for different ages, which I think the city is already trying to address with the depot and trying to encourage activities for teens. A pickleball, water features for not just toddlers, but older age kids also came up, shade and walking path. And then just general desire for kind of upgrades to their favorite amenities, the splash pad, playground, and mini golf. Next slide, please. So after the public input, we looked at a few case studies, particularly splash pads, and looking at what are those water features that maybe older kids would be interested in, and came away with kind of this idea of some cooling stations, which is the image in the upper right, water walls, kind of light features perhaps, some different shade structures. We also talked a lot about integrated play and splash. So the middle row of pictures is a project we did in Newburgh, Indiana, that actually was an old pool facility that they filled in and turned into a splash pad and playground just for ease of maintenance and longevity throughout the year, keeping it open. And then we tried to do some research on mini golf courses. Our company hasn't done mini golf courses before, so trying to figure out where you could go with that, different ways you could improve those. Next slide, please. So the next kind of 5 slides are really all sorts of different diagrams that we played with, explored, a lot of space planning essentially. So things like a pickleball court, that came up in public input. Where would that fit on the existing site? So this first diagram looks at adding a pickleball court in the upper left-hand corner outside the parking area. And then a lot of the features, kind of the southern half of the map, are the same on the next 2 diagrams, but essentially looking at expanding some amenities outside of the depot, sort of a depot phase 2 for more teen activities. And then on the right side, looking at, improving that mini golf course and maybe moving in a basketball court, expanding the splash and play area to be longer and wider, so you could get shade structures in, maybe some more features, play with the topography, potentially have steps down to the basketball court that might be almost like bleachers. Next slide, please. So the next diagram is the same, the entire southern half is the same. Here we're just swapping the skate park and the pickleball, trying to look at if you relocated the skate park, you could get more pickleball courts if that's a priority. Obviously there's a lot of expense with moving all that concrete, demoing and moving. Next slide, please. The next 2 diagrams, part of the process of the planning, on the lower right-hand corner, there is an existing utility easement, and there was concern that if we removed the mini golf course and had to build something back, that they would not allow us to. We've since resolved that and gotten confirmation that that's not an issue, but that's what these diagrams were looking at, playing with that, pushing the mini golf course up out of that easement, and then pushing the play and splash north. So this slide and the next slide look at just different circulation for parking with kind of the same layout generally. Go to the next slide. So that just kind of shows you that same situation, but looking at just having one entrance into the parking lot instead of having an exit on the west-hand side. Next slide, please. So this last diagram really looked at, okay, what if you made a major change and consolidated all the parking in the upper right-hand corner? What would that do for you? Is there enough justification or benefit from that to do something like that? And this kind of shows how you can get a large, efficient parking lot, a little better circulation, and then have quite a bit of space for pickleball or skate park or kind of what have you in the future. So that's what that diagram showed. Next slide, please. So after all of that diagramming, confusing arrows and what have you, we got consensus on a preferred concept, and that's what you're looking at with this slide. So I'll kind of walk you through the elements, but the idea was at the parking lot at the top to kind of revise how you enter into the site and make the drive a little more clear using some landscaping, separate that into the parking lot for just general circulation when it's really busy during programming. Also, the efficiency of this is adding spaces. I think we had a total of 30 additional parking spaces, and that was kind of a comment from staff about when there's events there that parking is challenging. We're still able to get the pickleball courts up in the left-hand corner, expanding the depot, sort of a phase 2 with a mini football court, or a mini soccer pitch, excuse me. Maybe sort of a cooling station, some different activities for teens, adding a basketball court in the lower right-hand corner, expanding that splash and playground to be more interactive with one another, but also widening it so you can get shade structures, and then also lengthening the train platform area to have more space there, and then improving the mini golf course. So we left the skate park where it is in this version. If you go to the next slide, we also did one other preferred option, which helps you look at, again, if you took that skate park away, if that's getting outdated and you want to relocate that to a different park, you could go with a larger parking lot expansion there. And then also, we think the advantage of this layout is that the pickleball courts then become kind of more pedestrian friendly. You're not crossing a parking lot to get to them. There's a little more open space, a little more breathability around the depot area. So, next slide, please. The other thing we did was look at the site and kind of think a little bit critically about accessibility and how we can make sure that this will be inclusive. So some of the sort of recommendations for that were looking at, how we make sure if improvements happen at the mini golf course that it is accessible, and that you don't have barriers that would prevent someone in a wheelchair from using the course. Maybe part of the course would be accessible. Looking at inclusive splash pad features and playground features, surfacing that is conducive to that. And then everything even, site furnishing, tables, picnic tables that allow a wheelchair to come up to them, space next to a bench for wheelchairs, that accessible parking, obviously. And then we had a few suggestions from the Disability Advisory Committee to also think about some accessible parking spaces closer to the depot. So I thought that was a good suggestion. And then also to have family-style restrooms that are more conducive for families that have kids with disabilities, and even adult changing tables within those. So, good suggestions there. Next slide. This diagram just illustrates how we could take some of the existing paths and connect those to create a quarter-mile loop trail. So one of the public input suggestions was having a circular walking trail. So somebody could walk this scooter bike around the center, maybe if they have kids playing, and count their mileage as they go around. So that was a way to kind of get a walking path into this site. It is pretty tight, so getting kind of a bigger loop was challenging, but we do think there's opportunities for that in other parks around the community. Next slide, please. So these images just start to show some precedent imagery as that playground is a project that happens, an improvement, looking at everything from, toddler play all the way up to kind of more exciting preteen, teen elements. That kind of central image is of a girl on this piece of equipment by Compan that you kind of get on and you jump across and you flow across. It's kind of a neat lever system. So different ways to kind of allow teens to be on the playground too. Next slide. And then this splash pad imagery starts to show some of the unique ideas besides just jets. You can do water slides at a splash pad as long as they're run-out slides. You wouldn't have to have a lifeguard for that. So that's kind of an interesting way to involve kids of different ages and kind of add some different thrill activities. And then the cooling stations we mentioned on the right, some other ideas for that. Next slide. And then this imagery starts to show some of the sports courts, some of the teen activities like climbing and bouldering, whether that looks more natural or more kind of contemporary, different shade structure ideas, and some of that ways to handle the grade change out there at the site. Next slide, please. So the next couple of slides are just some visualizations, some renderings that we put together, kind of keeping your site in mind and adding some features and playgrounds that we thought might make sense. Showing lots of seating and shade, play surfacing that's accessible. Next slide. And then this image starts to show you that aquatics piece that would be placed in where the splash pad is now, potentially. Next slide. And then this is starting to visualize that depot area phase 2, where you might have bouldering or the cooling station and some different things to kind of expand on that nice social space. Next slide. So, sort of in conclusion, we went through the public engagement, site analysis, went through this sort of conceptual development phase, and kind of like, now what? So what you've kind of come away with from this is a phased master plan. The idea being that not doing all of this at one time, but kind of thinking about priorities over the years, and when you have funding or funding opportunities come along, you're kind of ready to start to attack some of these phases. Next slide, please. So this phasing plan starts to show you kind of our recommendation of how you might break this up into different pieces. We're recommending the first phase might be the pickleball court and the basketball court, so those are both shown in red. And then beyond that, the phasing is kind of up to you. Those just seem like a nice kind of first piece that could add some activity to the park without kind of having to demo a whole lot and really reconfigure things. And so that's kind of our recommendation of where you could begin. Next slide. So that's kind of a quick summary of that process. And then I did want to share that we do in this master planning type of scope, we usually go through and do some high-level budgeting, so that's what this is. Not meant to give you a heart attack, but it does start to show these, so these are divided up by phase, so that'll kind of correlate with the phases that are shown on that phasing plan. So you can see the sports courts concept of the pickleball and basketball, as we quantified that and added pricing to it. Total project cost, hard and soft, was around $250,000. And then it kind of accelerates from there as we go through the phases, as to be expected. The mini golf, I think, is a real wild card. We found examples of mini golf courses that were, $2 million construction costs, and I think there's a lot of opportunities to do that for a lot less. We also talked about kind of whole sponsorship and even having local companies come in and put some creativity and investment in it to have, their name on a hole or something like that, so that was an idea. The parking lot expansion was in the range of about $300,000. A lot of surface area there for resurfacing, and then also adding some new full depth asphalt was how the cost came in for that. The playground and splash deck is the biggest, most expensive piece. Our number got all the way up to $5 million. I think you definitely could do that for less, but I will say we've been doing splash pads at HWC. I've been there 15 years, doing them for about 10 years. We used to be able to do a splash pad for like less than $500,000. And we had 3 last year that all bid close to $2 million. So it's the cost of the steel and all those features and just the general inflation of construction. We've seen that more in aquatics than we've seen it in any other type of construction. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. So we put in 1.75 for splash pad deck. And keep in mind, we're showing that big feature with 3 slides, which just the feature alone could be about $300,000. So you could definitely do it with smaller features. Play surfacing is very expensive. We're showing a ton of shade structures and a lot of other elements, play structures. I think the way we were kind of trying to handle the grade change with that cool kind of natural stone bleachers could be done for a lot less. So just wanted to kind of give you that caveat that that's a starting point, but as you decide what's a priority and we go into our actual design phase, I think you could really button that down to a more reasonable budget. So, can I take any questions?
This is just a concept, things can be kind of looked at and moved around.
Absolutely. I think with any master plan, what we were trying to do is really push the city a little bit to think, not just kind of update things, but really think about the whole site and how you could improve it long term. But with anything, as priorities change over the years, this is sort of a reference document, something to kind of, we do a lot of work around the state where grants kind of pop up all of a sudden, and you have a month to put it together. And when you have documents like this, you can quickly say, oh, we have this project, here it is, we thought about it, so you're kind of prepared for funding when it comes like that. So but certainly things can adjust over time.
No, it's a nice presentation, thank you.
Yeah,
Very cool content.
that's great.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda this evening is approval of the minutes. You were provided a copy of the September 2nd regular meeting, September 23rd special meeting minutes. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? I'll ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Provided a copy of the claims for the previous month. I'll ask for a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. No one signed up for public comment. Next item is the consultant report, Wheatley Group. Jill?
Thank you. Wanted to mention just a couple of things. At our last meeting, our last regular meeting, we had the Superior Vault facade application. I reached back out to Superior Vault to see if they wanted to add anything based on the comments of that meeting and the fact that they really need to add more project costs in order to get that $10,000 in reimbursement or potential reimbursement. We've been communicating back and forth. I think there is something else that they want to add to the application, so hopefully I'll have that for you at next meeting. Madison Street Green Alley improvements, we anticipate that construction on that starts soon and be finished in November, at the end of November. And then if you drove down Highway 3 today, because I think they just got started yesterday.
They got it all, they started this morning, got it all the way down.
So we had some issues getting the utility companies to retire service there. And then once they did, they got the building down and we're working with them to put a plan in place to make that safe and accessible for people who park there for the trick or trail event on the 24th. It's not likely that that parking lot is going to be completed before the trick or trail like we anticipated and hoped. So, I think one thing to mention about the Family Activities Park itself is, whether you remember or not, the city did receive a $250,000 grant from Soaring Tourism or some, and that was to pay off existing debt, but also to fund improvements. So we utilized that money to pay off the bond payment. It's for all of this year for the Family Activities Park, but we do need to do some improvements there. So we can discuss that, I think, later, but now that master plan is done, we can look at what phases of that or portions of that you might want to do in order to expend that money. And then it's that time of year again where next meeting I'll have a annual redevelopment spending plan draft for you to review, which is due to be uploaded on or before December 1st. If you have any other questions about anything in my report, I'd be glad to answer those.
Thank you, Jill. Old business, we have resolution 2025-R4 to affirm the BOT agreement, the common short street parklet, Ross Brown Tide.
Yes, so as many of you know, the council did hold a public hearing last night and did award the BOT for the common short street parklet project to GM Development Companies, LLC. What this does, the council, according to the BOT resolution, council had to be the one to formally award it. Given the fact that the actual BOT agreement, though, will be between the Redevelopment Commission and the developer, this kind of ties a neat bow on it, on the process, affirming the award of the BOT agreement, authorizing Derek and Benita, Mayor and Clerk Treasurer, to sign any documents in connection with the BOT process. And as we discussed last month, given that the pavilion has a much longer lead time as far as how long it takes for it to get ordered and to arrive, this resolution does approve the substantially final form of the BOT reimbursement agreement. In fact, that is attached as Exhibit A to this resolution. And so if you all do approve this resolution tonight, and then the council resolution last night, it also authorized Redevelopment Commission to enter into reimbursement agreement. So if you all approve this resolution tonight, Derek and Benita can actually go ahead and sign that after the meeting. And then the developer can sign it, and that longer lead time item can go ahead and get ordered that way. So again, reimbursement agreement, it's only an interim agreement. It does have a cap for $195,000. So in other words, that cap cannot be exceeded until the short-term financing closes, which is supposed to be November 4th still. So again, main purpose of the reimbursement agreement is just to allow that pavilion to go ahead and get ordered before the short-term financing closes in a month. So happy to answer any questions, but again, this is just kind of tying a bow on the BOT procurement process.
Do you need any action from us?
Just to make a motion to approve the resolution. Jill, do you have the resolution number for that?
4.
Okay.
As part of that last night, we talked about it a little bit, and a lot of good things come out of it, so I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance, or the resolution.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. New business, we have the Forest Edge drainage plan. Jill?
Thank you. We briefly discussed it at one of our previous meetings last month. There was an issue that came up, and I think all of you have a handout too that kind of shows what the potential improvements might be. There was an issue with drainage on the Sigma property out behind Forest Edge. I know that Tubby Purcell's been out there meeting with Sigma. I know that Forest Edge and their Forge Construction, who's constructing that, has been out on site. It's been going on for a few months. Finally, there's a resolution of what everyone feels is a cost-effective resolution. Heritage Engineering, who is the engineer for Denton Floyd, went out there and came up with a solution that they thought would fix this in hopes of getting this done while the project was still underway. So what you have in front of you is the potential solution plus an estimate from Dan Christiani Excavating that Forge Construction with Denton Floyd had procured from them. And then with the deal that Denton Floyd proposed to pay $7,000 of the total cost of that. Sorry, I got this in my notes, I should have looked at them before. $7,000, and it's asking if the city would pay the remainder of $17,150. It's up to the city whether the city would like to ask Sigma to then help defray some of those costs. It's my understanding that Sigma had some drainage issues prior to this project going forward. And this project just exacerbated that a little bit more. But in order to try to get this taken care of, this is what the solution has been proposed to fix that. And this is a much more cost-effective, I can't remember the dollar amount, much more cost-effective solution than was originally floated to fix this problem.
So you said the city, but you're talking about redevelopment commission?
Redevelopment Commission, yes, sorry.
No,
$17,150 is what would be the difference.
I make a motion, we approve that amount.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
If I could add to that too, I know that they want to get started on that. Would it be possible, for you to take action that if that invoice, when they send redevelopment invoice, because Denton Floyd or Forge, whoever, Denton Floyd or Forge Construction's going to contract with Christianity and they're just gonna invoice us for our portion of it. If we could approve that payment and then just ratify it through claims the next month if it doesn't fall within the normal claim schedule, since you only meet once a month.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve now payment of that invoice when it comes in, even if it's prior to our next meeting.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Is there any further discussion, new discussion this evening? There's no further new discussion. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 4th, 2025.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion. Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you all. You have to sign the plagiarist.
Thank you, guys.
Wow.